Hello by watching this video, my name is Jaspot and welcome back to my Pokemon gyms of every type. Flying type is a consistent staple of any playthrough team. Not only do all the games have an early route bird that you can go ahead and catch, but also in the earlier generations it's really useful to have fly. Plus, all of the early route bird Pokemon can typically be at least respectable and easy to get a catch, so you can go ahead and use them throughout the entirety of the game. There are plenty of other really cool flying types though throughout the course of the game that aren't birds and kind of can be a little bit easier to forget that they are flying types because you usually think of their other type a little bit more, but there's some plenty of good options that we can go ahead and use. As well as just knowing that this entire team has an immunity to ground really helps out, considering the fact that ground type's one of the best types in the game offensively anyways. Gym 1 will lead off with Murkrow. Murkrow is a very good Pokemon offensively early on, but with a base 42 defense and special defense, it can be taken down pretty quickly no matter where it is in the game. Now, obviously, if you use Eviolite and Prankster, that's a whole different story about it being weak in their defensive liability, but obviously you wouldn't really want to use that overpowered of a moveset early on. Our ace of the team will be Corvisquire, just keeping together some emo birds. Now, Corvisquire isn't a dark type like Murkrow, but it's all about the mood. In all seriousness, Corvisquire and its entire line are probably in contention for some of the best early route birds in any of the games. It may not still yet be at its full potential, but it's still a really wonderful option when it does evolve. For the meantime though, Corvisquire is a perfectly fine option. Yes, Corvisquire is weaker than Murkrow right now base stat-wise total, but considering the fact it's evolved, I think it gets a little bit of seniority over Murkrow. Our TM for the first gym will be Aerial Ace. It's a very fun move that doesn't miss, so I think anyone would take that early on. Gym 2, we're going to add another team member to the middle of the lineup. Gligar is going to come in and take away our electric type weakness that comes with having a flying type team. Gligar is yet again another Pokemon added to the team that has an evolution in a later generation that makes the first one really good, but yet again, like Gligar, we're going to make sure that's still not too overpowered yet, considering the fact we're only at Gym 2. So other than not using Gligar to its full potential yet, we are going to go ahead and keep everything else the same otherwise. Gym 3, and we're still going to keep adding so far. All of our Pokemon are going to go ahead and stay in their same spots. We're just going to go ahead and slide in Golbat. I really do seem to like flying types that get evolutions later on in the generations, don't I? With Golbat though, right now, it would likely be our bulkiest option. It's great to be able to have a Pokemon that can come in, take a few hits, do a little bit of chip damage, but mostly just be a nice clean swap to another Pokemon after, it takes some hits, whittles down a Pokemon, stuff like that. Now, Golbat can certainly do more than just kind of be a pivot option at this point in time, but we're also at Gym 3 and I don't want to overuse its value. Especially right now, considering the fact we actually have a team of 4 so far, so I don't really want to push the team any harder right now, as well as I think this is the most Pokemon we've actually had so far at Gym 3 this early on. Gym 4, we're actually going to push Murkrow aside and take Gligar and make that our new lead. At this point now, we'll be able to actually utilize Stealth Rocks, which will be extremely helpful for the team and just having any type of hazards laid down. But since Gligar is taking over the team now and Murkrow can't be the lead anymore, I think it's time for Murkrow to actually evolve. Honchkrow is actually a very strangely built Pokemon in my opinion. With 2 very high offensive stats and 2 really low defenses and kind of a middling speed stat, it's really only good at hitting things really hard and hitting things really hard very balanced. But if you're able to go ahead and throw a Scarf on it and give it Moxie, you can really go ahead and put yourself in a situation where you could actually sweep with a Honchkrow. Or if you don't want to go Scarf, you could always play with like a mixed attacking moveset just to keep your opponents off balance. We are now going to go ahead and switch our TM now to Drill Peck. It's just a really fun, nice, strong, physical type flying move that's really useful at Gym 4 and I think anyone would go ahead and take as well. Gym 5, we're not adding anyone quite yet, but we are going to continue to make the depth of our team a lot stronger. Golbat has been extremely happy in its role and has now decided to evolve into Crobat. Crobat has actually become one of my favorite Pokemon so far, not only because of its well-roundedness, but its usefulness in Nuzlocke, and it's just widely available to get most of the time. It's just no matter what, a very solid team member, and like I said, that well-roundedness really helps in most situations. Even though I do praise it for being super well-rounded though, I don't want you to underestimate its base 130 speed. It's a very fast Pokemon that can take a decent bit of hits and can also hit you whether it's physically or specially at a decent clip, so Crobat just happens to be one of the better Pokemon that you can get almost anywhere. Gym 6, we're going to go ahead and beef up our lead a little bit. Gliscor is going to come in very solid defensively. Pair that with its hidden ability Poison Heal and give it a Toxic Orb, and it really is only going to be taken down by super effective hits. Plus, having a 95 attack is going to do serious work up and down any opposing lineup. Now, also being able to have access to Toxic Spikes, we can go Toxic Spikes or Stealth Rocks, or just use both. It also even has access to Swords Dance in case I don't want to use it more in a defensive support role that I'm thinking I'm going to be using it in, and be able to have it be an offensive sweeper. Gym 7, I noticed we actually haven't added any depth in a while, considering the fact we had a pretty sizable team back at Gym 3. So let's go ahead and grab another major piece to this team. Gyarados is a fantastic Pokemon in general, let alone to be added to the flying type team. And Gyarados is also one of the Pokemon I was kind of referring to when I said you kind of forget it's a flying type because most people use it for its water typing. It has fantastic and well-balanced stats as well as a great move pool to be able to pull from. And Gyarados honestly has just been a constant staple of greatness in Pokemon over since it's been released in Gen 1. We will also actually now switch Honchkrow off of the lead of this team. It was never particularly the greatest ace in the world anyways, but one that I found very fun to go ahead and use in lead up till this point where it starts to get a little priced out a little bit, I would say. In comes the brand newly evolved Corviknight. Easily one of the best Pokemon added from Gen 8 and a fantastic option to be the ace of the team at this point. I mean, to me, just the idea of having like a Night Raven Pokemon be the ace of our team to lead it into battle or whatnot is just a really cool visual to me, and that's part of the reason I have it as our ace, even above other Pokemon right now that have better stats. Even though it is a little bit weaker than some of the rest of the Pokemon though, don't sleep on it at all though. Its defense is still very solid, the Steel typing is a fantastic defensive type, and just offensively it does enough. Gym 8 though, we are kind of abruptly already taking Corviknight off the ace spot, even though I just praised it for the whole theming thing. But I needed to open up this spot for one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, like I said about Crobat. I know I say that a lot in the series, but genuinely I try to use some of my favorite Pokemon ever, so that's kind of why. But I wanted to open up this spot for somebody that's also put me through and saved me so much in some of the Nuzlockes we've done on this channel before, being Togekiss. Togekiss is going to come in and be the ace of this team just because of how much I love that it can annoy its opponents. Using Serene Grace and King's Rock just to make your opponents flinch all the time is really funny to me, and also very funny how valid and strong it is. Plus, somehow they went ahead and let Togekiss get access to Thunder Wave, which is also just ridiculous and so overpowered. It can also really pretty much do whatever you need it to be. If you need it to be a defensive stall, it can do that. If you need it to be a fast offensive threat, it can do that. And if you need it to just kind of be a jack of all trades or a support Pokemon, it also does that really well. It also helps that it has one of the best typings in the game with being a fairy type, so that just helps with any type of situation, really against any type of opponent. So our team is actually going to shape out like this. Gliscor is the lead, followed closely by Crobat, Honchkrow, Gyarados, Corviknight, and of course our ace Togekiss. If you are wondering, I didn't mention Mega Gyarados on this one, and that's just because it loses a flying type when it Mega Evolves and gains the Dark type. So it felt a little cheap to go ahead and try to add Gyarados and like have it Mega Evolve because it loses that typing, so I'm not gonna do that right now. So if it Mega Evolves and loses the type, or like evolves or whatever it is and loses the main type that we're trying to focus on, I'm really probably not going to add them to the team. But this team I feel like ended up in a really fun spot, considering the fact that almost every single Pokemon on this team is well-rounded, really with the exception of Honchkrow. And even with that, Honchkrow still has balanced offensive attack, so it's still like a weirdly really balanced team in every single facet. So with that, whenever we go ahead and do fight with this team on Showdown in a couple days or whatnot, I think it'd be really fun to see who I actually want to be our offensive Pokemon and who I actually want to be our defensive Pokemon and who I actually want to be our support. But also with that, I would love for you guys to tell me what you would do for your flying type gyms in the comments below as well. And other than that, I would love to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and show greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.